Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Association of the United States Army's annual conference and trade show in Washington, D.C., the #1 gathering of U.S. Army leaders from around the world. Our coverage here is sponsored by General Motors Defense, Bell, L3 Harris, and Leonardo DRS, and we're here on the Rafael stand to talk to retired Israel Army Brigadier General Pinny Yungman. Thanks very much, sir. You're the Executive Vice President for Air and Missile Defenses, which is kind of a growth business.
You're right. It's a great time for air and missile defense.
So talk to us a little bit. I mean, few companies have the kind of portfolio you guys have, from Iron Dome all the way up to the highest levels as part of Israel's integrated air and missile defenses. Talk to us a little bit about all of the stuff that you're bringing here at a time when it's a real renaissance, as we jokingly said, in air and missile defenses, as the U.S. military is looking to protect itself from the full spectrum, from small unmanned systems to the highest level strategic systems.
In the Air and Missile Defense Division at Rafael, actually we are developing, producing, and maintaining systems from very short-range systems that was planned to defeat and intercept drones for very short range, through Iron Dome, familiar system with very long time of experience. The system intercepted operationally more than 2,000 rockets and missiles that aimed to attack Israel. Very combat-proven system, up to the David Sling system, familiar David Sling system, that actually we developed and producing the system together with the U.S. industries, Raytheon as the prime in the U.S. Iron Dome system that was developed by only with Israeli money by Rafael and our allies like Elta and Empress Industries that was part of the developing the system and producing the system. Today we're producing the interceptors in the US actually by about 30 vendors in the US that producing parts of the system. 75% of the parts of the interceptor we are producing in the US. Raytheon as our partner are the prime in the US, and actually they are managing and controlling the vendors and sending the parts to Israel, and we are doing the integration in Rafael and delivering the interceptors to the forces, to the air defense forces. The future, in the very near future, we are initiating JV together with Raytheon to produce all-around. It means full interceptor in the US. Since we had a contract between the governments, we have contracts to deliver the first 2 Iron Dome batteries to the Army. We hope that in the future it will be many more batteries. We thought about the idea to produce for the US, and not only for the US, but also for the Israeli users, another production line in the US. We call it R2C, Raytheon Rafael co-production, that we will be able in parallel to produce in Israel and in the US for the US and for the Israeli users. In parallel, we are working with the Marines. Actually, I want to mention that we conduct 3 demonstrations in the US in White Sands, 2 for the Army and 1 for the Marines. The Marines are also considering using the spectacular system, Iron Dome, that has, combat-proven, long experience as a system that actually saved many lives in Israel, using it as a system to defend the Marines forces as well as in the Army forces. So when we are talking about what do we have in our inventory in the Air and Missile Defense Division, I can say generally that we are developing, producing, maintaining air-to-air missile, air defense system, missile defense systems, from very low altitude up to and short range up to very long range and very high altitude.
Let me ask you a little bit about what some of the conversations you're having with the U.S. Army, because in this cross-functional team approach, the whole idea is to improve right from the lowest level to the highest level. What are some of the conversations you're having about how to adjust the product and adapt it to meet some more specific American needs, and then also look to continue to advance it and see what other technology you can bring to bear, because the Rafael company across the piece has a lot of capabilities that you can then assemble to have actually more targeted solutions perhaps than you have now?
Actually, it's a very good question. But I want to start with thanks to the U.S. government that's supporting Israel for a long time, many, many years, especially with the air missile defense systems developing and producing, and continue to support. And this is something that I need to, as an Israeli civilian, I need to thank to the U.S. government. For your question, first of all, we are together with the Army. We are sitting together, we have teams that understand what are the requirements, and if we need to adjust the system to the US standards and the US requirements, we will do it together. I can say that once the Army, the US Army, will decide to buy, not only for the interim, but for the enduring solution, the Iron Dome system, probably Raytheon will be the prime in the US. They will lead the upgrades, they will lead the integration and all the adjustments that we will need to do in the system. Practically, we are focusing on the interceptors and the launcher that will be integrated into U.S. Army radar and C2, whatever will be chosen by the Army. So Rafael, together with Raytheon, we have teams engineering teams that will support all the adjustments, all the upgrades, all the integration activities that we will need under the Army requirements and the probably request, and support all the tests, including training, including maintenance, including all the support that the Army will need. Once there will be a definition for the enduring solution, the next stage, future, we will give the full support as Rafael, as the Israeli government. We will give the full support with the full package of data that will be needed to do all the adjustments and the upgrades and the integration to the U.S. Systems.
You guys are always looking to the next generation, the next technology, the next thing that'll make it either the interceptors cheaper or more effective, or even look at a complete different approach. What's your thinking as you look 5-10 years out? What integrated systems like this are going to look like, and how you want to change? You know, it's a cost challenge. Every round you fire, there's cost associated with it, and often, especially in an Israeli context, it's very low-cost systems, so cost is a very important thing. But as you look 5-10 years out, what's the next generation that's needed to do this kind of a mission?
We, from the beginning of the development of the system, we are designing the system in a concept of design to cost. So we understand that the threats are so many. We're talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of threats that we need to defeat, to intercept. So from the beginning, we are designing with a low cost, especially the interceptors. This is the first thing I want to mention. Second, we are looking at the future. The first day that the system deployed in the Israeli air defense, Israeli field, I'm talking about the Iron Dome for now. After the first day of the deployment, we continue. We started the second stage, the third block, the fourth block. We are continue to develop the system. We always thinking what can be the future threat, what we will need in the future to defeat, because we are not, it's not something that everyone is sitting and waiting. The other side, we live in a special neighborhood, as you know, very special neighborhood. So we understand that the other side has all the time start trying to develop more concept, more capabilities to defeat our systems, and we need to think a little bit faster, and to understand what will be the next generation of threats, and to upgrade the system, to bring the systems to better capabilities to defeat future systems. And actually we are succeeding in that, and not bad. So even in Iron Dome, David Sling, and direct energy uh, uh, um, direct energy systems we are developing to defeat next generation threats. And I can tell you that from day one, when we started the development, we knew that these are the requirements for now, but our engineers and operational guys thought about the future 10, 15, 20 years ahead. And we developed the system, designed the systems that we will be able to upgrade the systems to defeat future threats.
And very briefly on directed energy, you guys are working on that. That's seen as a very, very important technology, both close in, but even a little bit further out. Obviously, the tactical high energy laser was fielded in Israel. Israel became the first nation to have that capability, something the US Army was working on for very many decades. Talk to us very briefly about directed energy and the applications for that in a real world way, because there's this perception that lasers are always 5 years away. You know, it's like a mirage. It stays 5 years away. But actually it's a lot closer for a lot of applications. Very briefly, give us the sort of sense on what the future of that technology is.
Two applications that I can speak about. The first application is very low energy laser between 5 to 10 kilowatts to defeat drones from, short distance. I mean, something around between 0 to 2.5, 3 kilometers to defeat drones with low energy, to burn them down actually. It will fit to the drone dome system that we are marketing, developing and producing and marketing. Drone dome is actually provisioned for to integrate the laser, and this is something that we will try to integrate beginning the end of this year and beginning of next year. This is the first application. Second application is higher energy, much higher energy to defeat rockets and other threats like missiles and rockets, to be part of the Iron Dome system. Another launcher, let's say, let's call it like that, that can be used in parallel to interceptors to defeat rockets. So there will be an option to use laser, high power, high energy laser to defeat the rockets, or to use interceptors, Iron Dome interceptors, in the same system, the same battery. And this is the second application.
Brigadier General Pinny Yungman, the Executive Vice President for Air and Missile Defenses at Rafael, and I said retired. You retired from active duty. You're still a reservist, so you're still serving. Sir, thanks very much. It's a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you. Thank you.